Some secrets are forgotten with time, but some, even after 25 years, will still come knocking on your door. In the late 1920s, in a foggy harbor town, Detective Edward Langley sat alone in his office. The smell of rain mixed with the faint aroma of coffee that had gone cold hours ago. Outside, the wind rattled the glass panes, and the distant horn of a ship echoed through the night. Piles of dusty case files lay across his desk, their edges curled with age. Just as he was about to leave, his eyes caught an aged, yellowed envelope placed neatly on the corner of his desk, as if someone wanted him to find it. On its surface, written in faded ink, were the words, "The witness is still alive." Edward felt a faint chill crawl up his spine. The Iron Dock murder of 1895 had been one of the city's darkest whispers, a story passed around in hushed tones in taverns and alleyways. The only witness, Samuel Crowe, had vanished for 25 years, until now. The next morning, heavy mist clung to the streets as Edward walked through the narrow back streets of the harbor. Street lamps flickered in the haze. Water dripped steadily from the roofs, pattering into shallow puddles. The masts of ships loomed above like skeletal fingers, their ropes creaking softly in the damp air. Stray cats slinked along the shadows, watching him with unblinking eyes. At the far end of an abandoned dockyard, Edward found a weathered warehouse. Its wooden doors sagged on rusted hinges. Inside, the smell of salt and mildew filled the air. Sitting in a chair by the wall was Samuel Crowe. His coat was worn, his hat pulled low. His hands trembled, his eyes clouded with years of fear. "What I saw that night," Samuel began, his voice a whisper barely louder than the wind, "has been a knot in my throat for decades, Edward. But the time has come." He spoke of a stormy night when a man in white gloves stepped out from the shadows and stabbed the city's richest merchant outside the dock warehouse. The killer was Benjamin Ashford, son of the mayor. The night was thick with rain and thunder, but Samuel swore he would never forget the look in Benjamin's eyes, cold, certain, and unafraid. The case had been buried under power and silence. Before Edward could ask another question, footsteps echoed outside, sharp against the wet wood. Two strangers forced their way in, their faces hidden beneath wide-brimmed hats. One lunged toward Samuel, but Edward stepped between them. A struggle erupted, the air filled with the sound of grunts and shuffling boots. Then, a muffled thud. Samuel fell to the floor, blood staining his shirt. "North wall," he gasped, clutching Edward's sleeve. "Inside the watch, everything's there." Edward raced to the north wall. Behind a loose brick, his fingers closed around a rusted pocket watch. On its lid were the initials B.A., Benjamin Ashford. But when he opened it, he found more than he expected. A tiny, faded photograph of Benjamin shaking hands with the current mayor, both smiling as if they had nothing to hide. It wasn't just an old murder. It was a chain of corruption stretching to the present day. Edward took the watch to the police station, but as he approached, a black car rolled silently up beside him. Two men in dark coats stepped out and handed him a sealed envelope. "If you reveal the truth," one of them said, "you'll be next." That night, Edward sat in his dimly lit office, staring at the watch on his desk. The rain tapped against the windows like impatient fingers. Hours passed. At dawn, he made his decision. The next morning, headlines splashed across the city. "Iron Dock murder solved. Benjamin Ashford's 25-year crime exposed." There was no mention of Edward Langley, no mention of Samuel Crowe. The evidence had been sent by an anonymous informant. Some secrets are carried to the grave, but in the right hands, sometimes silence is its own kind of justice. From that day on, Edward Langley was never seen in the harbor again. But whenever the rain fell, at the north wall of Iron Dock, someone would stand in the mist, and far away, the ticking of a pocket watch could be heard. If you enjoyed this mystery, subscribe to Quarter Century Mystery, and and join us for the next case. Don't forget to like this video and share it so the mystery spreads.